you guys? Hope you guys are doing well. I'm stopping through very, very quickly, as I always do. What I always do, honey. I'll be saying, girl, I'm gonna stop here quickly and get up here quickly. But listen, I just got up, so I was like, let me jump on here and let's get into this. So, of course, shout out to all of you, my supporters, viewers, contributors, gifters, all you people when I do an event or I offer something, you're jumping on it. Truly appreciate it. So of course, you guys, I mentioned, and of course you should have got if you signed up for the Art of Seduction class, which is the prerequisite to, and I told you I'm doing like my classes kind of in sets, but separate. And then down the line, you can get them in the set if you want to, a collage, a trilogy, however that's going to be. But the Art of Seduction, of course, is the prerequisite to a lot of other classes I'm going to be presenting down the line. And of course, one of them is sex magic. And that's what we're talking about a little bit today. And it will be on a blog spot by tonight. And it'll be available to purchase for the next 7 days at the posted price, honey. So you have until next Sunday to purchase this class at that price. And then, of course, it will be changed. Y'all, we're getting into high magic. I told y'all there's no more basic shit over here. There's no more boring shit, redundant shit. The same shit. Let me tell y'all this, just a little side. Okay, just a little side note. Okay. Nothing is more frustrating to me is when I see all these like commentators, right? And this is not into one in particular, but I'll see all these commentators or bloggers, vloggers, journalists, online journalists talking about the same story, right? Like, girl, like it's crazy. It's like somebody would tell these people to like start a story on something. They will all start the story. They will say the exact same thing, y'all, right? And I'm just like, baby, why am I clicking on all y'all and y'all all presenting the story the same way? Like, it's not possible that you all possibly have the same opinion and viewpoint on this topic. Like, it's no way. And I feel like that even with like the magical stuff, I feel like a lot of these people be talking about the same shit. And of course, like I said, I don't keep it with anybody recently. I think somebody from the past is trying to connect with me. And he's like, what is your YouTube channel? I'm like, okay, let me give it to him. But I keep forgetting to do it, but I am going to give it to him. But in the back of the day, when I was seeing people, I'm just like, girl, y'all talk about the exact same shit as if you guys grew up in the same house. Like, it's very telling for those of us who are very awake, woke and aware, conscious, however you want to put that, that you guys learned this from somebody. There's a group or something going on around here, and that's what y'all learn this shit from. Y'all not learning this from no fucking mystery school and shit. And then they get, oh girl, let's not even get into that because that's gonna cause that side to come out. And then to go into the whole initiation and stuff, y'all. Yeah, there's certain things you have to do sometimes to get into certain magical practices. You just cannot go and start tapping into shit. There's certain, modalities that you have to do and techniques you have to do to attune yourself to the work, the frequencies associated with that path. Yes, but no, you do not have, girl, you do not need somebody or a group of people to bring you in and charge you all this money because, of course, they're not paying this money to the spirit. And they can say, well, we respectfully donated money to this now. Okay, that's a personal, choice. But collectively and that doesn't have to be done. Okay. And so that's personal choices, as a lot of this stuff is. And girl, that makes it like, girl, I initiate this person is blah, blah. And it's just like, but is the magic working? The real question is the magic working. The real question is it MMW. Okay. MWWMM. If you catch it, you catch it. You don't, you don't. And so either way, y'all, we're getting into high perspective magic. And there are certain things you have to do to attune yourself to certain frequency. But it's very simple. Anybody could do it because, of course, this is universal energy. One thing that I learned about spirituality is that we all have access to spirituality. We all have the ability to tap in because this is a free world, spiritually and physically. It is only in the physical world that people will tend to put dollar signs and or, restrictions or boundaries on things that are spiritual. But in the spiritual world, girl, all things are accessible, baby, if you will. What they say, if you have a will, there's a way. Hello. And so either way, like I said, we're getting into some high magic stuff. And so we talk about this before because a lot of people, they're like, listen, why am I going to take a $120 class? Well, I'm taking $105. And I'm really hoping that the people that have taken the class these classes, thus far that I've offered about high perspective, that they actually got into doing these practices and actually start doing the work, so that honestly, come probably like by Halloween, we can do like some type of conversation where you guys could talk about, any changes you guys have noticed in your life since practicing these modalities or techniques. You guys, there's certain things you have to do, like I said, to attune yourself to frequencies. And baby, once you attune yourself to that frequency is always in you. It's always around you. The ability to, to get where you need to get to. And I was even, very slightly, because like I said, we want to keep this very short, y'all. And I feel like when I'm here, girl, maybe because I just love talking to y'all, I don't know, but I get here, girl, we start turning this into like an hour, 2 hours, and I'm like, girl, in real life conversation, I can say what I got to say in 10 minutes and be done with it, girl. Sometimes 2 minutes if you're nasty. Hello. But anyway, when it comes down to workings, right? And I just want to kind of put this out there. This is not like, saying too much or, whatever. This is just kind of putting things out there, okay? And so, you guys, if there's systems of magic that is done, because everything, right, according to the ones who are oblivious, the ones who don't really, we'll say oblivious because they don't know, right? Some of them don't know. I think a lot of them do know and they just play stupid. But these people that act like they don't know or is oblivious to what is going on, they will be like, it's witchcraft to play with crystals. It's witchcraft. It's this, is that. It's this, is that, right? But going into like keeping up with the time, do you know that that's number magic? When it's 2 o'clock, it's 3 o'clock. I gotta be up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I gotta go to this. I gotta go pick the kids up at 3:30. It's a time system. That's magic, right? Going into today's Sunday, tomorrow's Monday, tomorrow Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. This is also magical, right? The Bible speaks about days being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There was no order of these days. You don't know if Sunday is the first day. You don't know if Tuesday is the second day. You don't know if Wednesday is the seventh day. You don't know that. The Bible does not break that down. It is man that said that today, the first day would be Sunday. The next day will be Tuesday. The next day will be Thursday, and so forth, so forth. It's man that said that. And even going in deeper than that, these days are named after deities and or planetary energies, and that's not biblical. And so I always say there's always some type of system of magic that is being worked. And what makes you excel in your life and become the best you possibly can be. When I'm talking about, Rashim Kamad became a billionaire by the time he was 40. It might not be in your chart to be a billionaire. It's definitely in your chart to be successful, happy, and healthy, though. Definitely. But it may not be in your chart to be a billionaire, because maybe in your past life you had access to all that money and you blow that money on stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like, who's to say what to say? Because, of course, we're not tapping into your chart. We're not tapping into your energetic forces. But going into this, these systems were put into place for people to get ahead and sometimes get over on people. That's why we say magic is manipulation. It's the ability to manipulate energy. If you're not able to achieve any type of magical height, you're not able to manipulate. And so with that being said, where people are out here talking about the political stuff, y'all, and that's just I'd be a little confused, right? Because I'm like, okay, I could see the mundane, walk by blind faith individuals, right? I can even see those who don't believe in a higher source, a higher power, being concerned about laws that are being passed, being concerned about rules that are put in place, being concerned about whether or not the police are roaming out here with their heads chopped off, right? I can see that. People who are magically inclined, people who understand the magical systems, people who are Christian, it doesn't matter what it is. You believe in something. That reminds me of that song on the movie Car Wash, y'all. Remember Richard Pryor and those girls? If you want to believe in something, hey, why not believe in me? Anyway, so girl, believing in something creates something which takes you someplace, which allow you to manifest all the things that you're trying to get accomplished. And when it's not working out, you need to check, you need to reevaluate the people and places around you. Because you're confident in your craft and you're confident in your identity and you're confident in your ability. Because being confident in your identity is being confident in your ability. When you're confident in your ability and you're not able to manifest or achieve what it is you're trying to achieve, like say you need to check the people that you're hanging with. Because your network is your net worth. Okay. You will never excel past those who are very close to you. And that's why I would tell y'all very respectfully. If I have a friend or I have a family member, I have anybody close to me that don't really like, okay, I'm comfortable, forget it, I'm comfortable making, $2,000 a month. Girl, when that's only 24K a year, which is considered very low income, listen, girl, we could say hi bye, but babe, we cannot be around each other like that because we don't have the same monetary value, the same prosperity or prosperous goals in mind. We're not both, bosses. We're not both moving in that energy. And so you're going to be of a hindrance to me trying to excel or be the best I possibly can be. And there's nothing personal with that. That's just how it is. That's why people who have a mindset have to find people with the exact same mindset. You cannot be somebody who wants to be a wife, a matriarch. You want to build a legacy. Yeah, people are going to say, oh, I don't care about being a matriarch. Oh, I don't care about this and that. Girl, at the end of the day, you're going to always have problems finding that person to build that relationship or whatever it is you're trying to build up with, because that energy is it's what they say, birds of feather flock together. That is a rule, right? Being connected, right? There's a linkage between all of us, and it becomes more personal with the people that you deal with. And so, like, before I get too far off, the title of the video is Y'all Not Ready. We've been talking about high perspective management for a very long time. Even when I first came on YouTube, I decided that I was going to go one direction, or I wanted to go one direction. I decided to go another direction. And of course, people are like, oh, I remember you used to do this. I remember the old channel. And I'm like, yeah, this is all to feed y'all, though, to elevate y'all. Like I said, I don't know, what all my followers have done, what they've done, what they're doing, even right now, how successful they are. Are they happy? Are they content with their life? Are they not? But I do know a few of you, and I only know this because you actually reached out and you told me, you've actually acquired the lifestyle that you wanted. You've actually manifested, right? And some are still here, some are not. I told y'all about some of my clients who are no longer here, of course, to their own doing. But all the tools I'm giving you, all the information I'm giving you is tools to better yourself, to elevate yourself, to make yourself the best you possibly can be. And that's what we're here for. And so, like I said, we're getting into high perspective magic. No, this class just not going to get into any of the class offer. Not just going to get into the basic. You do this, you do this, you do. You take the candle, you do. Like, y'all, there's energies, frequencies you have to tune yourself with. And of course, we get into that. Going into the angelic and demonic magic, right? Demonium. A lot of people, they don't have the ability to access the energies, the angelic energies, and they're like, I work with angels, but you don't see it. They don't know how to tap into it because they don't know how to align themselves with that frequency. We get into all that in the angelic atonement, the demonium class, and then of course get into the final two. We're going to call it. It's going to be a trilogy, right? We get into attuning yourself to, if you're not aware, because like I said, some people take these classes and they already know how to do these things. So of course, I don't put this in the angelic class. I don't put this in a demonium class. This, if you got both of them or you specifically pay for this class, we get into a certain working that is a process, right? There's like 3 stages before you actually could get into doing these angelic workings, and like, baby, bam. Like the first day you do it, you're like, I'm seeing something. Like literally, there's a shift that takes place within the subconscious mind, which then overall affects the psyche, which overall affects the mental, the emotional, and the physical body. And then you project yourself into this, what we call the spiritual realm. And so whether you are living and or you've passed on, The energy is still there. The energy lingers. There's remnants of energy, right? We all leave fingerprints or what they call prints of energy everywhere we go. So, as I stated, a lot of you are not ready. Yes, back in the day, we used to talk about things, y'all, freely. But people started slapping me the fuck up and start spitting in my motherfucking face, disrespecting me. And as somebody who knows their worth, as somebody who knows who and what they are, bitch, nobody will ever get the opportunity again. People would literally, and not just the opposing energies, people who were other providers and they were trying to shut down my tea to make sure their shit prosper. You had also weak energy, that was at the bottom of the barrel. We're gonna say that for that sake, because baby, they tried me, girl, and they won't try me again though. Because some of them are not able to try me again. Okay, and we'll just keep that there. But they won't try me again. But I said, baby, I will never get the opportunity again. We'll never sit here as a leisure. I'll never sit here without asking for money. I'll never sit here without getting a check from YouTube or any platform, and to go into real stuff. Girl, that'd be like talking about, let's talk about this. This would be like offering a cooking class that's free to the general public, right? And everybody who comes, or we're going to say most people that come, because some of you, I think you're very mature. I think you got the concept. So this doesn't apply to everybody, right? But you find out that it was open to general public, and maybe like 4 or 5 adults showed up, and the rest of them were like kindergartens and shit. And we'll take it down to toddlers. Most of them that showed up were actually toddlers. And so you're teaching the toddlers how to cook. Girl, a toddler don't even know what the hell a spatula is. I mean, unless they like that. They're not going to know what the hell a spatula is, what the hell a solid spoon is, a solid fork is, a pan, turn the heat on to 400 degrees. Like, girl, they're not going to know that. So you just talking. And then what's going to happen is somebody's going to come along, they're going to know that, damn, these toddlers don't know anything about this spatula, anything about this. This bitch is over here breaking this shit down. So what we could do is we could come forward, because we're adults just like this bitch is, and we're going to break it down and let the toddlers know, baby, no, you don't have to do this. You could do this. And I would say, girl, because there was somebody, very lightly, politely, and widely that was trying to say, criminals need to learn from other criminals. Was basically what they were saying. And there was I think he considered himself a white witch. I don't know. Also from Northern California. He was also alluding to that as well. Like, yeah, there's a reason for all your fucked up shit, and your fucked up shit is gonna help other people that's in that fucked up shit. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, most of the life lessons I've learned from people were not from people who actually done the crime and did the time, or was put into unfortunate situations because of their doing. A lot of the tools that I received from people, my teachers, the people that have come and go throughout my life, older than me, younger than me, same age as me, to teach me lessons, they've never been through those experiences. But because they got these experiences through other people, or they were told, hey, if you do this, bro, you're going to jail. Hey, if you do this, it's going to fuck up your record and you're not going to be able to get a job and blah, blah, blah. Because I think we're all taught that. They're like, hey, let's pass this on. Because, I'm good with my life, and I want to make sure the people that I know and I care about is also good with their life. And that's what it came down to. So it's like, I don't learn about bad shit from bad people. I think that's an ignorant way of thinking. I think that's very naive. I think that's a very incoherent way of putting things. You don't have to learn about being a serial killer from a serial killer. You learn about that from the victim. Can we talk about it? You don't learn about a serial killing situation from the serial killer himself. These serial killers don't got autobiographies out there for you to learn. Oh, girl, baby, you learn from the victim, from the discovery of the victims or the victim. That's to make you say, oh, let me put my guard up. Let me learn. So that's the same concept with that. Bitch, A bitch that cannot manage their own life, because we know that in magic, it's about self-discipline and it's about mastery. That's what the planet of Saturn is for. Every planet teaches us something about ourselves, right? One thing about Saturn, it teaches discipline and self-mastery. You're not going to tell me or anybody who's aware of how these energies work that you have mastered self when you have not been tried by temptation. You've been broke and a spirit or somebody came through and said, hey, I know something that can get you $10,000 right now. You got problems paying your rent? I got something that can get you $10,000 right now. It's not legal, but you won't get caught. Girl, it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of self-knowing and self-mastery. They say, bitch, I'm not about to do that shit and get caught up in that, girl, to where my rent is paid for a good year and after a year I'm going to go serve time. Girl, that's intelligence. That right there is self-mastery. That right there is elevation. That right there puts you on a winning path. And what a lot of people don't understand is, y'all, they keep talking about we're getting into a place of where it's going to be a separation of societies, like the lower class and the upper class, and et cetera, et cetera. It's not going to be just about money, though. It's not going to just be about monetary value. It's going to really be about criminal history. It's going to be about, baby, you've ever had a crime for something. That's why they get into pardoning. Pardoning is so important right now. This is what they keep bringing up. If you have a history of criminal records or doing criminal stuff, you have criminal behavior, this is what determines your value. This is what's going to determine what your worth is, right? And we know that even publicly, we know that even privately, going to jail for certain things will stop you from getting certain things. Your record will determine if you get a job in a certain field, right? And we all know this. This has been known for a very long time. And even I think recently they really start getting into even check your credit and shit for even like working at McDonald's, right? They want to see how responsible you are with paying back your debt. But let these people tell you that want to lead you, down the wrong path. Oh, baby, that doesn't matter. Do what you want. It doesn't matter. That doesn't affect you. Your history, your criminal history does not define you. What? And as I keep saying, yes, it's beautiful to give those people who actually got tried by the spirit, who had the addiction on them, the people who had the energy of, whether it was hereditary or they did it for survival, of being a thief. Yes, give those people those accolades if that's what you choose. But I really feel like the real winners and the real people that should really be patted on the back and given the accolades to are those who were in that same energy and they never bit the bait. The people that were in that same energy, that had the same opportunities, but never fell down. It was harder to stand up during that whole movement of waters versus going under the water, learning how to swim under the water, being under the water for such amount of time, and now all of a sudden you managed to come above the water, and now, woo, congratulations, you now could float. But what about the people that have been floating this whole time, who never went under? That's a little harder. That's a little more work. That's a little more energy involved. That's a little more planning out. That's a little more being focused on the prize. That takes a little more dedication. I mean, let's just be honest and direct here. That takes a little more dedication. And like I said, that's not in any way, shape, or form to take away anybody's hard work or challenge. Because of course, I know for some people, it's unfortunate. And it's a very sad situation. Some people, they grew up in that. That's all they knew. They were taught how to be, a certain way. So like I said, I would never take that away. And of course, like you said, that's not directly to anybody, in particular. That's a broad statement. It's like, in my mind, the ones who really should be getting the awards and the congratulations are those, like I said, who were in that energy and didn't bite the bait. Those who were, tried and they didn't fall for it. I always tell y'all this, and even going in, very lightly, and not that this is important, but it's something that I will have to speak about, amongst a certain community, LGBT community, there's always, two things that go hand in hand, right? Um, Drugs and sex. But amongst, a particular community that's less than, 1% of the whole population in total, by the way, if we want to throw it out there, let's talk about it. In the whole population, we're not saying that because, of course, people say the numbers really don't make sense. Because said that 60% of this is actually white and blah blah whatever. But 1% of the whole population, which I believe is like what? If you're talking about the whole population, you're looking at a good, maybe 800 million people. I'm just pointing it out there, right? And of course, this all guesstimations. When someone is in that community, and if they've ever done sex, it's because they wanted to. It wasn't because they were forced. It wasn't because they were horny. It wasn't because a demon came over them that was induced by whatever trauma or drugs, whatever, however. And they also never tried drugs. They never wanted to see what a pill tastes like. They never wanted to see what a pipe tastes like. They never wanted to see what snorting felt like. They never wanted to even put a joint to their mouth, a pipe to their mouth. I think that makes people feel some type of way. Because I told y'all, people would always say that I think I'm better than everybody else. And I'm just like, I've never said that. I speak about my life and my story just like people speak about their life and their story. People speak about weaknesses. People speak about struggles. People speak about self-pity in their conversation about themselves. For my conversation about myself, it's always a victorious one because I've been through a lot of things and I learned how to get through these things without crying and blaming people for me going through those things. And so it's not about me thinking I'm better than anybody else, but just like you can tell your story about why you do these things, and I'm never going to stop drinking, I'm never going to stop smoking, because it's who I am, or I love it because I love the taste, however your story is. Just like you do that, self-conviction, self-sabotage, self-hateful, whatever you call that, whatever you call yourself doing, my conversation about myself is victorious. My conversation about myself is never whiny, pity, poor me, poor me, poor me, poor me. Because like I said, baby, we could do a whole book, we could do a whole story time about what I've been through, what I've witnessed, what I've experienced. But like I said, I'm a victorious person. I'm not a victim. So that separates myself from a lot of these people. And so like I said, a lot of these people that I know, girl, they all have tried the drugs and they all have tried the sex out of control. And like I said, even as a adult worker, virtual, if you want to call it that, okay, girl, I'm a virtual whore. If you want to call it that, yes, girl, virtual whore, virtual whore. But in person, girl, okay, hello, in person, two people can say they've had this. Two people can say they tasted this. Two people can say they touched this. Two people can say they had this any piece, any way, any shape, any form. They were able to get into the presence. They were able to sit at the throne, but they were not able to say they rode the ride or the throne rode their ride. Hello? They cannot say they actually felt like, they actually tasted, they actually felt the waters of the goddess. They cannot say that. And like I said, I'm not saying that to, throw jazz at me. I'm just saying, girl, when you consider yourself to be a certain way and you really do believe yourself to be that, girl, you know your worth. And you know that, baby, I don't have to do that to get this. And that's what made a lot of these people gag. A lot of people I know they used to, and some of them used to do, they got into the adult stuff, honey. They had to get down and get dirty to make a couple of hundred, if that. There was girl. And when they got one good client that paid them to say 1,500, whatever, because the client needed to smuggle drugs in their room, the client needed to take a shower to hide what they were doing. So they were using this person as like a cover up. Oh, this person acted like they were like the biggest, baddest thing. Like, oh, girl, but you weren't making it before that. Girl, you have to like drive around town, girl, fucking up your own car just to try to get it because they weren't paying for it. Because you know why? Men with money don't care for low-hanging fruit. Men who have real money, men that are established, which means if they were right now got together, they don't deal with low-hanging fruit. You want man with money, you want man that's successful, you want man that have things to lose. You have to present yourself a certain way. You have to present yourself as if everybody does not have access to you. And that's the solution of that. You can't be acting like, oh, anybody can get it. Oh, they all get it. Oh, yeah, Tommy was talking to me. Oh, yeah, he has some number. I gave it to him. Oh, yes, he has some snap. Here it is. Oh, he's calling my phone now. Oh, girl, what? And so, anywho, because we're starting off too far to the side, too far to the left. Even though we're standing on the same time, we're staring off. We are only presenting high magical classes, and we're doing them in different steps, different formats, and that's just how we're doing it. We're not doing basic classes, basic learning anymore. Okay, and that's just that. Like I said, even going into teaching y'all, we grow, right? I've mentioned this years ago. We're gonna all grow together. If you caught me at this stage, you caught me at this stage. You caught me back then, you caught me back then. But it's elevating, it's evolving. Okay, we can't be doing the same shit over and 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 expecting different results. Collectively, we could be doing more. Collectively, we will be doing more. Collectively, there is a shift. There will be a shift of power change. Very lightly, I got into a forum, and I only got into a forum because they were talking about a whole bunch of stuff that's going on right now in Hollywood. And I won't say too much, because that's not, this channel's not really about that. Because like I said, I have some clients who are part of that whole little society. And so of course, I want to be respectful, and how people get, girl. They'll be like, what? Who? You said what about what? Because you were talking about my family. You said that. And see what I mean? That's why we don't do celebrity gossip. Unless I really don't care about that person and nobody I know fuck with that person. Girl, we'll probably come in and throw some shade and talk some shit. But girl, me personally coming out and telling y'all my personal opinion about any type of person and coming in and reading them down, girl, like, ah. And so either way, they were just talking about all the energies that are going on here. And a lot of these movies that are coming out, they basically are going to be talking about what they're doing, what they've done throughout all these years in that society, and what they plan on doing to the general people in the near coming years, right? Not like 200 years from now and shit, in the near coming years, because they said time is up. They said time is up 10 years ago, right? And so either way, they were mentioning what I was talking about. And y'all, I swear, I literally just came across this yesterday, right? Because somebody was talking about a movie that just came out, I want to say over the weekend, or the movie came out last weekend. It was one of them. And people were talking about how they were canceling out TV shows and how they were canceling out movies and stuff because these TV shows and these movies had secrets in them. And we always knew that. We always knew that they will lie and say that, oh, they don't got enough funding for this movie, or they don't got enough funding for that, so they have to end the season at this part. They always say that, y'all. That's their main excuse, right? All the time. But they were mentioning one TV show in particular. And I told y'all this. I didn't really care for this TV show when they first mentioned it, but one of my sisters said, no, you need to watch it because they break down a different story every episode. And so I was like, okay, because they were making it seem like it's all the same, blah, blah, blah. And so y'all, I got in and I watched it. It was called Lovecraft Country? And I'm watching this TV show, y'all, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, they even kind of talked about the Emmett Till era and what happened around the Emmett Till era. And I would say, God, this too. When you have a Black celebrity, a Black artist who is paid as a puppet, I almost said Muppet, talking about a particular energy, and they also become a part of that energy, they're basically letting you know that their handlers and the people that brought them in has something to do with that energy. It has something to do with that frequency. They're not saying it because they're Black and they're here to speak for Black people, because y'all, there's a lot of things that Black people have done successfully that people are not out here giving them credit for. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of things that black women and black men have done for this country, for this world, to speak at a greater level. And people are not here, out here walking around with their name. They're not writing songs about them. And so it breaks it down and it talks about how the systems of magic, I almost got into it right now. We're not going to get into it. How the systems of magic was put into play and how it ultimately affected the Black Americans, right? Because, of course, all the other people that came into this country, they came into this country with their magical systems. A lot of people that were in this country and they're not in this country no more, right? Because they've been shipped out or they left out on their own. They came into this place with their own system. They've kept their system. That's why you hear about stories about them going through shit, but you don't really hear about it on a greater scale like you hear about the Black community, right? And I don't like using the word African American community because, girl, it is what it is, right? And so we're just going to say the brown American community. There you go. We're not even going to say Black. We're going to say the brown. We're going to say the lighter shade or darker shade of brown community. Can we say that? Hello? And so that's what it is, y'all. And I'm sitting here, and then of course somebody come and comment, girl. And I'm like, girl, you don't even look like you belong in here. Girl, just a random ass page. No, they actually counted these shows because of the books that these shows are based after. No, they actually counted these books, these movies because, like, girl, stop it. A lot of these movies and TV shows are not even based off exactly what was in the fucking books, girl. Say that shit for your mama. Girl, a lot of these TV shows and movies and stuff is not even based off of the exact books. So no, they did not end these TV shows. No, they did not end these things because of the book. The book ended, so they had to end the series. No. Because counseling and ending this series is totally different. There's no counseling, baby. Unless they're saying, baby, there's no more. We're going to cancel this because whatever. There's a reason behind that. And like I said, girl, they had a lot in Lovecraft Country, girl. And I was even telling one of the sisters while I was watching, like, ooh, girl, this episode right here is speaking about this situation. This episode right here is talking about this, like, girl. And I know these things to be true because it makes a lot of sense of why even during the era, like even, I mean, girl, I won't even get into it, y'all, where I was even, like, I wanted to kind of see where people's headspace was at when I was speaking about how trans people has been around for a very long time. And of course, somebody said, well, maybe it was not talked about as much. But I'm like, but we all know somebody, right? We all know somebody who knows somebody. So I'm sure like your mama, your grandmama, the neighbor's sister, she would have said, I had a son who disappeared. I had a son who became a woman and we didn't hear from, like, girl, we would have heard these stories. We didn't hear these stories, girl. Right. And so I know this is not the case. I know this is not because they were not reported. Right. I know this is not the case. I know that's not why, because even going into forensic science, how it has elevated, they would still come out and talk about things. They always talk about new breaks and shit. So they would have found out that Clarissa was actually a male or whatever. So I don't believe that to be true. I really think that very similar to a lot of things. I think that when the energy starts shifting and people start getting into a state of knowing, there's some type of agenda to try to end certain frequencies, to try to end certain energies. And like I said, in a free world where you can practice your religion as freely as you want to, right? We don't see religious people taken out in the name of religion. We don't see religious people taken out in the name of religion. There's never a story about a man, and of course, if there is, I would like to see these stories at a greater scale of a man taking out a Muslim man, a Christian man taking out a Muslim man because he is an abomination to his God. I've never seen that, baby, here in this country. Not around the world. Here in this country. But in this country, baby, like I said, in a free world where you could be who you are, free to be who you are, free to like what you need. Okay? You hear about the most crazy stories about people. And the first thing, oh, well, maybe it's because of this, maybe it's because that. And it's just like, no. Maybe it's just because people are doing it because they feel like they can get away with it. Maybe that's what it is. Baby, these people reigned supreme in the 70s when this stuff wasn't even talked about. This was kind of like a naive thing, y'all. These like nobody really knew about these things existed. Nobody even knew about a male living as a female. Nobody knew about a female living as a man. Nobody knew about the sexual operation of a male to become a woman, right? And I'm speaking in layman's terms. No one was aware of this in the 60s and 70s on a greater scale, right? They were barely aware of that it's possible that their husband could have a job, come home from work, and cheat on them, right? Or the same thing for the wife. Like they didn't even know that. They didn't know it's possible for their wife to cheat on them with their brother around this time. But how is it in the era where everybody is fully aware of this stuff? Mysteriously, that's where all the most nefarious, just fucked up ass shit happens, right? In this free world that we live in, where people have the knowledge of what's going on. And this where you hear about it the worst. This is where you hear about it the most. This is where it's like really, oh yeah, it's being really reported now. The fuck out of girl. Nobody cares, girl. We're still in the era of social media, girl. Nobody cares about what happened to Donatella. Nobody cares about what happened to Giovanni. Nobody cares about what happened to Whitney Houston. Nobody cares about what happened to Phyllis Hyman. Nobody cares about that girl. And we're talking about even in motherfucking 80s and 90s, girl, 2000, 2011s, 2020s. Nobody care about it. Nobody care, girl. Nobody cares about it. Nobody cares about it. So what would differ from that time to this time? Because there's some type of energy moving. And that's what it is. There's some type of energy moving. It's some type of energy. So anyway, you guys, as mentioned, those who signed up for the Angelic Atonement and Demonium class, like I said, there's one last class you'll be getting by tonight, and it is a little something. You'll get it. I don't want to put too much out here like that, girl. Because I remember one time I offered a class. Some of y'all, can we talk about it very lightly, politely, and whitely? So I offered a class on something years ago, and of course we're presenting this class, and I'm coming out. I'm talking about this class, y'all, with the general room, and somebody's gonna literally message me. They're gonna say, "Hey, in that class, are you talking about blah blah?" Like, girl, they were giving me a curriculum breakdown of what we're talking about in this class, right? And it wasn't verbatim, but it was around. And I was like, "Well, bitch, there's no way they could have watched because there's only one person I know that got some information, but it wasn't. Yeah, I know they're not connected to this person. Like, I'm certain." But girl, they were trying to like keep up with what. Oh, so they're learning this. I'm gonna learn it too, but I'm not gonna take the class learning. I'm gonna learn it on the outside. So then we come through and we have this discussion. I can talk about it. I was like, oh yeah, girl, we're not doing that no more. So this is why I'm very, very, when we're out publicly, I don't be like, hey y'all, here's the class, and we're talking. I keep, sometimes we talk about little, inserts and stuff, but we don't really get into topic about things because, girl, you be really trying to keep up, girl. They be like, wait a minute, what, who, and all you got to do is take a class. That's all you got to do, babe. Take that class. That's like, take that class. Take that class. But anyway, so yeah, that has to be done tonight, y'all. I'm also going to be posting on the blog spot tonight, probably within the next few hours about the sex magic class. And there's 3 type of levels to the sex magic class. We're going to cover all 3 levels. And I'm not going to break you down what these 3 levels are, but maybe y'all already are trying to articulate what these 3 levels are. And so either way, y'all, sex magic could be used for a lot of things. Healing. They can be used for, gaining, a certain position without even involving other people, by the way. I want to say that, so you don't got to sleep your way to the top. Going into even a lot protection work, bringing in something bigger and greater than yourself, using this as an energetic sacrifice. Like, there's so many things, there's so many possibilities in sex magic. And like I said, we're going to go over it. Not just the technique, not just what you possibly can do, but we're going to break down why certain things are important. We talk about it even in the this 3rd class, and we're going to call it the Rays of Light. That's what this class is going to be called. The Rays of Light, y'all. Not the sex magic class, but the final part, the Rays of Light. Oh, that sounds good. Oh, yes, honey. The final class for the Angelic Atonement and Demonium class. Y'all, when I tell you, we're getting into, listen, like I said, wait until y'all get it. Wait until y'all get it, girl. You're going to understand why mantras and yantras and all that stuff is very powerful, and get into chanting and stuff and going into meditation and stuff. We're going to break this stuff down very, very quickly, very, very easily. And of course, like I said, these techniques can be applied to anything outside of even this, and watch how energy move. And so, yeah, like I said, sex magic, we're going to break that down. That's going to be on there. We're going to get into it. We're going to call it a day. Y'all, I want to say this to y'all. Listen, and I was talking about this with one of my sisters. I'm like, it's so crazy how this happened, y'all. It's true. Right? And I'm like, well, maybe it doesn't happen to you guys. So let's talk about it. I gotta buy me a new laptop, and it's about that time anyway, because laptops usually only last like what, 3 to 5 years if you use it consistently, like I do, 3 to 5 years. And so I gotta buy a whole nother motherfucking laptop. So I'm like, here we go. But I'm like, why does it feel like when you start like plotting or planning, like, you know what? I'm gonna take this money and I'm gonna do blank, 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 or I'm gonna do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, or I'm gonna work to get this so I can go here. Or, ooh, going here sounds good, and how much it's gonna cost? Why does it seem like when you do that, something miraculously, mysteriously break down, or you have to fork out money on something? Like, girl, we have this thing, our friend and I, well, a sister though, we have this thing, girl. Well, we don't talk about nothing around our cars, girl. It seems like as soon as you start talking about money around your car, girl, the car needs something. And it's like, girl. And that's how I felt with that laptop, y'all, because like I said, it is about that time. But I'm like, girl, I'm sitting there talking about this and that. And, oh, yeah, come, October, whatever I need to do, December, And then somebody else, hey, around this time, can we do it? I'm like, yeah, I'm down. Y'all, it seemed like as soon as I start talking about that, I start actually planning. Bloop. So I said, baby, sometimes you got to move in that spirit of just thinking what you're going to do. Speak about it very lightly, politely, and just keep it moving. Don't dwell in it. Don't share with people what you got going on. Keep it to yourself and move like that. Because, baby, I was like, are you fucking kidding me, y'all? I was like, are you? And of course, like I said, I got my tablet and my phones that I kind of work with like a computer. But I'm like, damn, here we go. So yeah, anyway, like I said, the blog spot tonight, whenever you want to check it out, twospiritmystic.blogspot.com. We're gonna have, like I said, the trilogy for Angelic Atonement, Demonium class, as well as this final class, the Rays of Sun. So that will be a trilogy. And of course, that will be posted sometime like next week, sometime the first week of October. That will be posted for you to get all together at once. It's sort of pre-recorded and everything. Like I said, going into those who took the sign up for the Art of Seduction, which will go over magnetism and the power that you have, whether you are male or female. Everybody talk about white privilege, pretty privilege, black privilege, man privilege, and all that, girl. Listen, we're getting into magnetism. And there we go. I've already sent part 1. I'm waiting for the response from those who signed up for that class to get into part 2. Because of course, y'all, like I tell y'all, or we're going to just have it to where, because right now we're kind of slowly getting to those paces because we're doing high, I barely start doing high magic videos or classes for maybe a good like 4 or 5 months now. It hasn't even been that long. So I want to slowly move into it, y'all. But when we get into the groove of things, it's literally going to be, you get part 1, that video link will expire within 3 to 7 days. After those 7 days, I send out part 2. Even sometimes in those 7 days, I'll send you part 2. I'll send you part 3. Baby, you'll probably get all the links, girl. If you don't respond within that whole 30 days of all that with questions about stuff, y'all, I'm going to definitely be like, unfortunately, hey, we did not get a response. And so, honey, you're going to have to learn at your best ability. Because I tell you, people used to take classes, girl, and a year later message me and talk about in the class, blah, 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 blah. You talk about this and that and how to, and I'm like, girl, we did that class a year ago. I do not remember what I talked about in that class. In the class, we talked about things. You would have to go back and look at the class. But yeah, you're basically telling me to go back and look at the class and tap what we talk about. In this class, when you mentioned this part, what exactly did that mean? And it's like, well, it meant this, but it's like, why are we recapping this a year later? Like, what you got going on a year later, baby? What's going on a year later? But you need to recap. And so anyway, girl, that's how we're going to do. So, like I said, right now we're doing the send the video. I'll wait for your response because, of course, we ask questions in the video and then you get back to me and then we send out link 2, link 3, link 4, if there's even 5 links because, each link is like 6 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, depends on how I wanted to cut them. But yes, honey, that is that. Raise the light, sex magic, presented sweet, art of seduction. You've already got part 1. You'll be getting part 2 no later than Tuesday, y'all. We're moving into some T T T T T T T T T. I'm excited, y'all. And okay. I'm excited. And so yes, honey. I hope you guys have a great Sunday, a great work week. If we do not try to get until later this week or whatever, God, because listen, this week, y'all, we doing a lot this week. All right. This week, I'm actually doing a spiritual fast this week, too. Starting Monday night to Sunday night. We're doing a spiritual fast, girl. We get in, we get out, we get ahead. You know what I mean? We're doing nothing else but focusing on what the fuck we got to focus on. And I told my people respectfully, family, friends, whoever, girl, listen, if it's not about spirituality, if it's not about any of that, girl, I'm not doing it. Figure it out. Take a hike. Take a boat. Take a ship. However you got to do what you got to do. But baby, if it's not about that, I ain't on that. That's it. Girl, utilize all your tools, all your abilities, and call it a day. A shahid badeeb, okay? Okay, Rashid. I always want to say like Rashid Tahim or Tahim Ramin. Girl, bye. Anyway, y'all. Bye for now. Love and light.